You ever notice how quiet people are when you're trying to build something, but how loud they get once it finally starts working? That's the strange thing about success. It doesn't just bring you recognition, it brings revelation. You start to see people for who they really are. Because the truth is, success doesn't create friends, it exposes them. When you're struggling, nobody's watching, nobody's clapping, nobody's checking in to see how you're holding up. You could be grinding in silence, working late nights, fighting battles in your own mind, and it'll feel like no one even knows you exist. But the moment you win, the moment something clicks, suddenly everyone remembers your name. Everyone wants to stand next to you in the picture they never helped you frame. And that's when you learn not everyone who smiles at you is rooting for you. See, people love the finished product, not the process. They'll celebrate your glow up, but they'll ghost you during your growing phase. It's easy to cheer for someone who's already made it. It costs nothing. But supporting someone who's still becoming, that takes energy, empathy, and patience. And not everyone has that in them. That's why success is such a filter. It separates the ones who believe in you from the ones who believe in what you can give them. Think about it. When you were failing, you were invisible. You were posting, creating, learning, improving, and nobody cared. Your messages got left on read. Your ideas were too unrealistic. Your goals were too big. But the second those same ideas start working, the second your effort starts paying off, the tone changes. Suddenly it's, I always knew you could do it. But did they really? Because if they did, they would have said it back when you were doubting yourself. Winning doesn't change who you are. It changes who they show you they are. You start seeing people's true energy. You notice who celebrates your success with genuine happiness, not hidden jealousy. You notice who congratulates you in private versus who performs it in public. You notice who wants to grow with you and who just wants to be seen with you. And that realization hits hard because deep down, you wish the same people who doubted you could have stood by you when you were trying to find your way. But here's the truth. You needed that silence. You needed that isolation because without it, you'd never learn to validate yourself. You'd never learn that your value isn't dependent on who believes in you, but on how much you believe in yourself. Every time someone turned their back, it was just life teaching you how to stand alone. And when you finally do win, when your hard work starts shining, you'll realize something powerful. The people who mattered never left, and the ones who left never mattered. So don't get bitter when people show their true colors after you win. Get grateful, because you don't need a crowd to believe in you. You just need conviction. Every ignored message, every fake smile was part of the filtering process. It cleared the room so the right people could walk in later. At the end of the day, the ones who were quiet when you struggled were never meant to be part of your story. They were just background noise in your intro. Your real supporters. They were there when no one else was. They didn't need proof to believe in your potential. They saw it before the world did, and those are the people you hold on to. Not because they were impressed by your win, but because they believed in your worth when there was nothing to win yet. You ever notice how quiet the world gets when you start losing? It's almost like failure turns you invisible. When everything's going wrong, when your plans collapse, your ideas don't land, your progress stalls, you start to see how many people were only around for the highlight reel. Nobody's calling. Nobody's checking in. Nobody's asking if you're okay. It's like your silence makes them uncomfortable. And that's when you realize the quiet during your struggle speaks louder than any applause ever will. There's something about losing that clears the room. When you're down, people suddenly get busy. When you're broke, they suddenly can't relate. When you're stuck, they'll tell you they believe in you, but they disappear the second you need them to show it. And it hurts, not because you expected people to save you, but because you thought at least a few of them would stand next to you while you tried to save yourself. But they didn't. They watched from a distance, waiting to see if you'd make it or break completely. That's the strange thing about struggle. It's a spotlight in disguise. It doesn't show you the crowd that claps. It shows you the few who care. You start realizing that the people who are silent when you're down are often the loudest when you're up. They'll post your wins, but they won't pray for your peace. They'll share your success, but they won't sit with your stress. And you can't take that personally, because silence during your struggle isn't rejection. It's redirection. It's life showing you who's built for your lows and who's just attracted to your highs. The truth is, not everyone can handle your valley. Some people only know how to show up when the view's nice. They don't know how to sit with you in uncertainty. They don't know how to encourage you when the answers aren't clear. So when you start losing, they back away, not because you've changed, but because your struggle reminds them of their own. And that's okay. Let them go. Because your silence isn't emptiness. It's protection. It's the season where you learn who's real, who's loyal, and who's just curious. You'll find that during those quiet seasons, you talk to yourself more. You start having conversations with your own reflection, not about what's wrong with the world, but about what needs to grow inside you. You begin to realize that maybe the silence wasn't punishment. Maybe it was preparation. Maybe the reason people went quiet is because the noise would have distracted you from hearing your own voice, that inner voice, the one that keeps whispering, keep going, you're not done yet. That's the voice you build from. And the best part, when you finally rise, you'll remember every moment of that silence. You'll remember who stayed. You'll remember the friend who called just to check in, not to ask for anything. You'll remember the person who didn't judge you for being lost. Those are the ones who matter. Everyone else was just background sound that faded when the music stopped. So when the world goes silent, don't panic. Don't beg for attention. Don't chase validation. Instead, listen. Listen to your own drive. Listen to your own growth. Because silence is where character is built. It's where self-trust is formed. It's where you stop performing for approval and start living for purpose. The quiet might hurt, but it's teaching you to find peace without applause. And when you finally make it, when the noise comes back, when the cheers get loud again, you won't crave it anymore. You'll recognize it for what it is, temporary, because you've already learned that silence is honest and noise is not. The people who clapped when everyone else left, those are your people, everyone else. They were just the echo that left when the sound faded. Winning doesn't change who you are. It changes who they become around you. It's almost funny how success has this strange way of pulling the masks off people. You think you know someone, and then you win. You achieve something big. You finally start stepping into the version of yourself you've been building for years. And suddenly, the room feels different. The energy shifts. Some people start acting awkward, distant, or competitive. Others pretend to be proud, but you can feel the envy hiding behind their compliments. You haven't changed. You've just stopped shrinking, and that makes some people uncomfortable. See, when you were struggling, you were safe to love. You were easy to be around because your potential wasn't a threat yet. People liked you when you were still trying. They liked the underdog version of you, the version that made them feel a little superior, a little more accomplished. But when you start winning, that balance shifts. You start standing taller, speaking with confidence, moving differently. You stop asking for permission, and suddenly, you're the reminder of everything they're not doing. And instead of being inspired, they get insecure. Winning doesn't make you arrogant, it makes others aware of their own fears, their own laziness, their own unfulfilled dreams. You become the mirror they didn't ask for, the one that reflects what they could be doing but aren't. That's why some people who once supported you start pulling away. It's not that they hate your success. It's that your growth exposes their comfort. Your wins highlight their excuses. Your progress reveals their stagnation. And not everyone can face that without bitterness. But here's where most people go wrong. They start dimming their own light to make others feel comfortable in the dark. They start apologizing for evolving. They start explaining their blessings like they owe someone a justification for their hard work. Don't do that. You don't have to downplay your success to be liked. You don't have to make yourself smaller to make others stay. If someone can only love you when you're losing, they were never really with you to begin with. Winning doesn't just expose fake friends, it also reveals real ones. Because the real ones don't compete. They clap. They don't get quiet when you win. They get inspired. They don't ask, why them? They ask, what can I learn from them? Those are the people who belong in your circle. The ones who cheer, even when the spotlight isn't on them. They understand that your success doesn't threaten theirs, it expands it. Real friends see your win as proof that theirs is possible too. The truth is, success is a truth serum. It shows who was with you because of love and who was with you because of leverage. It shows who values your presence and who is just after your potential. And sometimes that realization stings. You start to miss the version of people you once knew. The ones who were kind before they were jealous, the ones who were supportive before they started keeping score. But that's all part of it. Growth will always cost you something. And sometimes it costs you people you thought would be permanent. So when success starts changing your circle, don't see it as loss. See it as alignment. The universe doesn't take people away to hurt you. It removes distractions to prepare you. Every person who faded after you started winning wasn't a mistake. They were a message. A reminder that loyalty isn't proven when you're struggling. It's tested when you're succeeding. At the end of the day, winning doesn't expose your ego. It exposes everyone else's. And once you see who's real, don't waste your energy trying to convince the others to stay. Let them go. Keep shining. Keep growing. Because the people meant for you will never feel smaller in your light. They'll grow brighter beside it. There's a quiet kind of power in learning how to win without needing to announce it. Because when you finally realize that the victory is real whether people clap or not, that's when you become unstoppable. See, most people waste their energy trying to prove something. They post every step. They explain every move. They want everyone to see how hard they're working. And that's fine until you understand this real success doesn't beg for attention. It commands respect. The loudest people are usually the least certain, and the quiet ones, they're busy building. There's a moment in life when you realize not every win needs witnesses. You start to understand that validation isn't the same as value. Just because no one saw you win doesn't mean it didn't happen. Just because you didn't post it doesn't mean it's not real. The people who make the most noise about their success are usually the ones still trying to convince themselves it's enough. But the people who move in silence, they already know. They don't need to tell you they're growing. You'll feel it when you see them again. Keeping your wins quiet doesn't mean you're hiding. It means you're protecting what's sacred. You're protecting your peace, your progress, and your purpose from people who might not understand it, or worse, people who might want to destroy it. Because not everyone who hears your plans wants to see them work. Some people listen just to measure how close you are to passing them. Some people don't clap because they can't stand the idea of you becoming what they were too afraid to chase. So you stop giving them access. You stop feeding your energy into people who can't handle your evolution. Silence doesn't mean weakness, it means control. You're no longer performing for an audience that never bought a ticket. You're done explaining your dreams to people who can't see past their own limits. You're done proving your worth to people who wouldn't recognize value if it was staring them in the face. You learn that peace is louder than applause, and consistency is stronger than attention. You realize that your focus is your greatest flex. Think about how many times you've told someone your goals and suddenly lost the motivation to chase them. That's not a coincidence. The more you talk about something, the more your brain starts to believe it's already done. You get the dopamine from the praise before you've even finished the work. That's why staying quiet works. It keeps the hunger alive. It keeps you grounded, focused, and locked in on what really matters. Progress over perception. The best kind of success is the one that speaks for itself. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to explain it. When it's real, it shows. People will see the glow in your eyes. They'll feel the difference in your energy. They'll notice how your actions move louder than your words ever did. That's what quiet winning looks like. It's not about showing off. It's about showing up every single day, even when nobody's watching. And when the results finally start to show, you won't need to say a word. The same people who doubted you will start asking how you did it. The same ones who overlooked you will start trying to reconnect. That's the beauty of silent consistency. By the time people notice, it's too late for them to stop you. So keep winning quietly. Let your work be your voice. Let your peace be your presence. Stop trying to convince doubters. Stop trying to impress spectators, and stop needing applause. Because when you learn to move in silence, you're no longer chasing validation. You're chasing purpose. And purpose doesn't need to be seen. It just needs to be lived. There comes a point in your journey where you stop asking, who's with me? And start asking, who's growing with me? That's the shift. That's the moment you realize that friendship, real friendship, isn't built on laughter, selfies, or shared memories. It's built on purpose. Because once you start chasing something bigger than yourself, you'll notice how many of your so-called friends were never running beside you. They were just standing still, clapping when it benefited them, silent when it didn't. See, when you're young or starting out, friendship feels like something you collect. The more people around you, the more connected you feel. But as you mature, you start learning that connection without depth is just noise. You start craving people who don't just hang out with you, but build with you. People who challenge you when you're lazy, who push you when you're scared, who celebrate your small steps even when no one else notices. Those are the people who get it, the ones who aren't impressed by your wins, but invested in your growth. And that's the key, because the truth is everyone loves the finished version of you. The confident one, the accomplished one, the one who seems to have it all together. But very few people have the patience to sit with you during the messy middle, when you're figuring things out, when you're unsure, when you're still becoming. The people who stay during that time, those are your real ones. They don't love you for the version of you that wins. They love you for the version that tries. Redefining friendship means learning to see beyond comfort. It's realizing that not everyone deserves access to your peace, your ideas, or your energy. Some people will like you only as long as you stay small because your growth forces them to face their own. Some will support you until your success starts to outshine theirs. And some, unfortunately, were never your friends. They were just close enough to benefit from your light. That's why you have to stop mistaking proximity for loyalty. Just because they're around doesn't mean they're with you. The right people don't compete, they collaborate. They don't drain you, they develop you. They don't gossip about you, they guard your name when you're not in the room. Those are the kinds of people worth keeping. You don't find them by accident. You attract them when you start living in alignment with your purpose. Because purpose recognizes purpose. When you're clear about where you're going, you naturally lose the ones who aren't meant to go there. And that's not a loss. That's direction. Redefining friendship also means redefining loyalty. Loyalty isn't about who's been around the longest. It's about who's been real the entire time. It's the one who calls you out when you're slipping. The one who doesn't feed your ego, but reminds you of your standards. The one who doesn't let you settle for less, even when you want to. That's not criticism. That's care. Because real friends don't just make you feel good, they make you better. And here's the beautiful part. Once you start surrounding yourself with people who are rooted in purpose, life starts to shift. The conversations get deeper. The silence becomes peaceful. You stop feeling the need to compete, to prove, to pretend. You start to realize that friendship isn't about having people to party with. It's about having people who will pray for you, plan with you, and push you when you start doubting yourself. So redefine what friendship means to you. Stop chasing company and start choosing alignment. Don't look for people who make you comfortable. Look for people who make you grow. Because the ones who love you through your process, who challenge you through your progress, and who believe in your purpose, those are the ones you build your future with. Everyone else is just passing through.